Straight now to Nick Ackerman, who's the assistant special prosecutor during Watergate, and Asha Rangappa, former FBI special agent. Thanks to you both. So, Nick, when you look at this, pardons for more than 24 allies, people, that he thinks are loyalists to him in some way. One person telling CNN they hope their loyalty to Trump would pay off now, right? This is what it's for. Have you seen anything like this when you look at history and pardons, Nick?
No, I mean, you've seen at the end of a presidential term or the term of office that presidents will give a number of pardons, but they're usually given at the recommendation of the pardon office in the Department of Justice because people have led exemplary lives, there was some kind of injustice in their conviction, or there's some extenuating circumstance. Here, the who and why is really important. I mean, the type of people he is pardoning are people like Roger Stone, who never served a day in jail, but yet was convicted for covering up the Russian investigation for Donald Trump. I mean, that is not the purpose of the pardon power. And that's the way he's using it. He pardoned Michael Flynn, who was convicted for lying about his conversation with the Russian ambassador on behalf of Donald Trump. And he's looking to pardon his campaign manager, Paul Manafort, who was involved in providing details to a Russian agent during the 2016 campaign. I mean, what we're witnessing is a pretty widespread pattern of corruption in using this pardon power.
Paul Manafort, has anyone forgotten the tax fraud and the ostrich coat? I hope no one has forgotten the ostrich coat. I don't even say it to be funny. It spoke so much about the situation. Asha, so people are going around the Justice Department and contacting the White House directly, right? There is a process for this, and they're bypassing it. Is this normal?
It's not normal. And let's remember the nature of the pardon power. This is an awesome power. It's one of the few monarchical powers that has made its way into the Constitution. The president basically gets to play God. He can literally decide whether someone lives or dies. And this is the reason that you have the office of the pardon attorney, because it provides at least a clearinghouse to go through all of these requests, the hundreds and thousands of requests, and find the ones that are most compelling, ones where there might be a miscarriage of justice, where the law was too harsh, or as Nick said, where someone has really rehabilitated themselves, and to provide those for review. When they're going directly to the White House for these, what it means is that the best connected people are the ones that are going to end up on that spreadsheet. Those are not necessarily the most compelling cases for clemency. And it results in a lot of unfairness. And then, as you mentioned as well, or as Nick mentioned, there are also these transactional pardons, ones that are being given as a reward for silence or loyalty. So this is just overall a complete abuse and misuse of what was supposed to be used, as Alexander Hamilton said, with caution and good judgment.
Caution and good judgment. Okay. Right. So, Nick, CNN learning that Trump has not ruled out a preemptive pardon for himself. And obviously, there's real questions as to whether such a thing would even hold. I recently spoke to the attorney generals, both of New York and Washington, right? They have investigations going on into the Trump family, who point out a pardon would not stop their investigations. Here they are.
Our investigation will continue when Mr. Trump becomes a private citizen. Nothing will preclude our investigation going forward.
We've developed compelling evidence that shows that the Presidential Inauguration Committee was used as a piggy bank to deliver money to the Trump hotel.
So the state level, New York, that's where most of the problems are, Nick, obviously. That would not be covered. Right. It would not be covered by a pardon. So how much trouble is he in?
No, it wouldn't. He could be in a lot of trouble. We don't really know all the details. We know that there's investigations going on. But the pardon power, even if he tried to pardon himself, which I don't think he can. And by the way, the U.S. Supreme Court back in 1915 said that to accept any kind of pardon is basically a confession of guilt. So if he or his family want to confess to guilt, they'd be accepting pardons, which presumably could even be used against him in the state proceedings. So by accepting a federal pardon, they could basically be admitting to guilt that could be used against him in a court of law in a state of New York or New Jersey.
Okay, that is a new angle on it. So, Asha, we're also learning in this context that President Trump is pushing to appoint a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Now, sources tell us that if the incoming acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen refuses to do so, Trump could fire him. Unclear then who would be in charge, how the president could try to get this done and force this through. What do you see in how Trump is going about this?
Well, it's once again an abuse of his power. I mean, the decision to appoint a special counsel rests in the hands of the attorney general. And the reasons for appointing a special counsel is when the attorney general decides that there may be a conflict of interest in the Department of Justice pursuing that investigation on its own. And so the purpose is to basically have this independent prosecutor who is free from any kind of political influence. That's, it's supposed to be even more distanced from any kind of political bias or influence. So for a special counsel to be appointed because the president is pressuring the AG just defeats the purpose of this mechanism entirely. And it's really for the attorney general, and I would say for Biden's attorney general, to make this determination. And he or she may, in fact, decide that this is the course of action. But it really is, once again, going beyond the norms and the rules and the purpose for which this was created.
All right. Thank you both very much, Nick and Asha. And next, Joe Biden expected to get the coronavirus vaccine publicly early next week. The White House says Mike Pence will get it on Friday, also on camera. And he is the most prolific trader in Congress. Tonight, we are learning new details about David Perdue's trades as he fights for his political life in Georgia.
He's trading, buying and selling stocks in the same businesses that he is